If you go online and you look for things that you should not do with your money, that way you can become wealthy, most of the personal finance experts out there are going to tell you that you got to stop drinking at Starbucks, because if you don't drink at Starbucks, you'll be able to afford a Lambo. Now, there's some truth to that. If you don't have any savings and you don't have any investments and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're barely getting by, but at the same time, you're going to Starbucks every single morning to get your mocha, fracca, or whatever, then yeah, you're doing something wrong. You should not be going to Starbucks because you don't have the money to afford Starbucks. But today, I don't want to talk about just pennies, because I want to talk about the things that can really make a big impact on your money and your wealth, because if you do these things that I'm going to talk about, they can really stop or slow down your chance of becoming wealthy. The first worst financial decision that you can make happens when we are on vacation. You go on a beautiful vacation, you're on a beautiful beach, and while you're on the beach, a nice salesperson comes up to you and tells you that you can get a free lunch at this very nice restaurant if you attend this certain meeting. Now, while you're at this meeting, these people are going to tell you about how you can have these luxury vacations every single year if you just purchase their timeshare. The way salespeople pitch timeshares is they pitch timeshare as a little bit of ownership in this massive resort. So it's almost like an investment. The only problem with that pitch is you actually don't get any real ownership, because if you try to sell this ownership in this timeshare, you're not going to get your money back. And if this person, the owner of this resort, sold the resort, you're not going to get any of the profits. The whole idea with a timeshare is you pay a little bit of money today, or a lot of bit of money, and then you pay a little bit of money every single year, and this buys you a guaranteed placement in this resort, in this hotel. That way you can come here for a week every single year, and your home is going to be reserved and ready for you. Here's the issue that I have with timeshares. If you want to go out and you want to buy a decent average timeshare, it's going to cost you $20,000 today, and then an additional $1,000 in maintenance fees every single year. So now, what this $20,000 today plus $1,000 a year buys you is access to the resort, which you can also buy just by going to Google or by going to Orbitz or Expedia or any one of these vacation websites and just searching this hotel and then looking for the dates that you want. I don't want to lock myself into any particular resort or hotel, because if I pay you $20,000 today and then another $1,000 a year after that, well, I'm not going to want to go to any other hotel, because I'm already paying you $1,000 every single year plus the $20,000 that I already paid you. So now I'm not going to want to go anywhere else. And I can go on a vacation for $1,000 without paying the $20,000 today. For me, the costs of a timeshare are way up here, while the benefits that I get from a timeshare are way down here, because I can go out and get the same benefits of a timeshare by going to a hotel or by going to a resort without actually buying a timeshare. And the worst part about thinking of a timeshare as an investment is the resale value of a timeshare, because if you buy an investment, you should be able to sell it for hopefully a profit. But timeshares don't work like that. I had an attorney who knew that I was very involved in real estate, and he came to me saying, "Hey Jaspreet, I know you're involved in real estate. I have a client who's looking to sell his timeshare. I think he paid like $45,000 upfront for his timeshare, and his annual fee was $800 a year, and he was willing to sell me his timeshare for $8,000. And I told him, no, I don't want to own a timeshare. There's virtually no resale market in the timeshare. So as soon as you buy a timeshare, the value of your timeshare is going to drop like a rock. The second worst financial decision that you can make is to live your life without a financial budget. You know, most people think that the reason why they're facing financial issues right now is because of the amount of money that they're making. If they just made more money, then all their financial problems will go away. But that's not the case. Numbers tell us that. 4 out of 10 Americans in the United States making more than $100,000 a year have no money every single month to put aside for their savings, and no money to put aside every single month towards their investments, because they're living paycheck to paycheck, even though they make $100,000 a year or more, because they don't know how to manage their money the right way. For the majority of Americans, I don't care if you make $50,000 a year or $500,000 a year, for the majority of Americans, their idea of a financial plan is I make money, I spend money, and then I wonder where all my money went. I don't want you to be one of those people. I mean, that is why we are the minority mindset, not the majority mindset, because we don't think like the majority of people. What I want you to do is I want you to create a system where now anytime you make a dollar, you know how much money you should be spending, you know how much money you should be saving, you know how much money you should be investing. That way now you're not living with this whole like mentality where I have $100, let me just go spend all this $100. You know how much you can spend, you know how much you can invest, you know how much you can save because you've already built this into your financial system. I talk about following a 75-15-10 rule, which says that for every dollar that you earn, 75 cents is the maximum you can spend, 15 cents is the minimum you should be investing, and 10 cents is the minimum you should be saving. If you do that, now all of a sudden, it doesn't matter how much money you're making, you are using your money in a way that is going to make you wealthy because you're putting some of your money towards your savings, which is not there to make you wealthy. Your savings are there to protect you from an emergency. You're putting some of your money towards your investments, which are there to hopefully make you wealthy as long as you're investing your money the right way. And then you have some money that you can spend. Now, this is the money that you use to go enjoy your life, to buy nice things, to enjoy whatever it is that you want to do. The third worst financial decision that you can make is to sacrifice your life or your health for money. I'm not gonna lie, I've fallen into this trap before, especially when I was first starting off as an entrepreneur. I was going to school full time and I was running my businesses full time, so I wasn't sleeping very much. Like if I got 4 or 5 hours of sleep, that was considered a pretty good night. So I was busting my butt day and night, just trying to hustle, just trying to make some money because I didn't really know my way around starting a business or entrepreneurship or investing. That was kind of my time where I had to learn everything and figure things out and hustle. I think every person who strives to be financially successful is going to go through that phase. There is going to be a phase in everyone's life where you're going to have to make a lot of sacrifices and you're going to really be busting your butt more than any other time. And this is the phase that I think everyone has to go through. But we all need to remember to, at some point, get out of this phase and really look after our own health and our own lives too, because there's a lot more to life than just money. There was a number of years in my life where I wasn't sleeping, I didn't go on vacations, I wasn't really hanging out with friends, all I was doing was working. Now, I don't really regret that because that time set me up for everything that I'm doing now, but it was something where I had to make a lot of sacrifices then, that way now I can enjoy the time that I have now. I still work a lot, and there will never be a time where I don't work. I love what I do. I have to work. If I don't work, then I feel like something's wrong and I don't feel good about myself, so I have to work. I enjoy that about me. But at the same time, I am not going to sit here and sacrifice every other part of my life the way I did. I understand that, hey, I gotta manage my family, I gotta manage my friends, I wanna enjoy my time too. And that's something that I have earned. And so this is something that you have to manage and remember. Some people just use this as an excuse not to work hard. Some people are just lazy and they're gonna say, oh, I have to balance my life. I have to do these things before they have accomplished anything. Look, your health is important. Your life is important. Your mental health is important. Your love is important. You have to remember that. Now, the reality is if you want to be super successful in one thing, yeah, you're going to have to make sacrifices. You might not be able to go on vacations. You might not be able to spend money on certain things because you want to save or invest your money for something else. But you have to also remember that there's a balance to life. And at some point, you have to be able to enjoy your life, especially once you start to earn that money, you start to see that success. Now you got to start enjoying your life and living your life and really appreciating what you do have because our time is short. The fourth financial mistake that you do not want to make is buying a car that you cannot afford. Let's say you go out and you get yourself a decent job and now you don't want to splurge on a brand new car. You don't want to go out and buy yourself a new Benz or a Beamer. You just want to have a nice, decent car. So you go to the car lot and you see this nice $30,000 car on the lot. Nothing crazy. So you buy this $30,000 car on the lot, but of course you don't got $30,000 in the bank. So what do? You finance it. So you finance this $30,000 car, you got to put $6 grand down, and now it's going to cost you $500 a month to own this car. But the $500 a month you're paying to your car company doesn't include your car insurance and your gas and your maintenance. So let's be really conservative here. Let's just be really assuming that you have very cheap insurance and you have very little gas and you have good credit. So now you're paying $500 a month on your car payment. And let's assume that all these other costs, your gas and your insurance, your maintenance, are going to cost you just $100 a month. So this car, you paid $6,000 down. And now you're paying $600 a month to drive this car. But if you look at the numbers, you're really not driving the car. It looks like the car is driving you. After 5 years, you'll pay off your $30,000 car by paying a total of about $33,000, $35,000, something in that range. And then you'll be able to sell this car because now your car might start having a little bit of problems and now you want to get a new car so you don't have to worry about these problems. You've paid 35 grand for this car. Now you'll be able to sell this car for a whole $15,000, and now you're gonna start this process all over again. If you really wanna do the financially smart thing, that what you should be doing is first, don't finance a car, buy a car that you can afford with cash, and then invest that monthly payment that you were given to your car company. You already had $6,000 in cash that you put towards a down payment. Now instead of using the $6,000 as a down payment for a $30,000 car, go out and use the $6,000 to buy yourself a used but in good working condition car. Yes, they do exist because I've purchased them before. Now you got yourself a car and you don't have the car payment. So now what I want you to do is take that $500 a month you were sending to your car company every single month and take that money and pay yourself. Go out and invest this money every single month. So now all of a sudden you have a $500 monthly bonus going towards your investments. That $500 a month that you were putting towards your car payment, but now you're putting towards your investment, will now grow in 10 years to $100,000 of investments. This is now your money, not your car company's money, because you've been investing this money assuming you can get a 10% return. In 20 years, now this $500 a month that you were putting towards your car payment, but now you're putting towards you, is going to be worth $375,000. And in 30 years, if you keep doing this, where you invest that car payment money instead of giving it to your car company, and you can go out and buy a new car. You can buy a newer, nicer car when you have the cash to afford it. But in 30 years, if you don't put this money towards your car company and you put it towards yourself, you will have $1 million. Because you use this money to pay yourself instead of your car company. And this brings me to the fifth mistake that I want to talk about, which is not investing your money. You just saw the power of what's possible if you invest your money consistently for a long time. If you invest $500 a month, every single month for 30 years, and you can get an average 10% return, you will be a millionaire. But if you just saved that same $500 a month, you're not going to be a millionaire. You would have $180,000 in the bank if you save $500 a month every single month for 30 years. Investing your money is what makes wealthy people wealthy, and it's what keeps wealthy people wealthy. Just saving your money is not gonna make you wealthy. Your savings are there to protect you from a financial emergency, but that's it. You should not be saving your money to become wealthy. Now I know this can be kind of a shock when many of us are growing up being told that if you want to become wealthy, just save 10% of your paycheck. But that doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work in this economy. It doesn't work in this environment. If you want to become wealthy, you have to invest your money. The whole idea behind investing your money is you want to take this money that you're working hard to earn and put it into this thing that's now going to work hard for you to earn you more money. So now you're working at your job, you're working at your business to earn more money, and this money that you're working for is going to now work to earn you money. Now, the most common ways for you to invest your money are going to be in stocks and real estate. But the decision that you have to make is, what are your goals with your investments? Do you want to get paid with cash flow or passive income? So now you're investing your money into this thing and it's going to pay you every month, or it's going to pay you every quarter or every year? Or do you want to invest your money into something that has the opportunity to grow into something a whole lot bigger? So now you invest your money today, and now in 2 years or 10 years or 30 years, you're hoping your money is just going to grow a whole lot bigger. The sixth financial mistake that I do not want you to make is to not have any savings. I kind of hinted at this earlier, but I look at savings differently than your parents probably did and the way your grandparents probably did, because I don't look at savings as a way for you to build wealth. I look at your savings as a financial cushion. This is the money that's there to protect you from going into debt when an emergency happens, because the reality is sometimes an emergency is going to happen. The easiest way for me to explain this is if you just think of your savings like a glass of water. Now I know this glass is empty right now, but what I want you to think of is your savings as water. Your money is water. And what I want you to do is just fill up your glass of water once. Once your glass of water is filled, now your savings are done. You don't got to save any more money, because now you got your savings cushion there. Once your savings cushion is here, now what you want to do is take all the extra cash that you got and invest it, because your investments are what are going to make you wealthy. Your savings are just here to protect you in case you get thirsty, in case something goes wrong financially. Now, this financial emergency is not going to be when a TV goes on sale or if Gucci goes on sale. This emergency is if your kid breaks his arm and now you have to go to the ER, or if your wife gets sick, or if your car breaks down. That's a financial emergency. Now, this money is here and you're going to put it aside just in case a financial emergency happens. But now, anytime you get some extra cash, you don't want to just keep pouring it into this glass, because it's going to overfill. It's a waste. So now you save this money, you're going to put it aside, and now you're going to be investing all the extra cash that you got. Now, the amount of money that you got to save is going to depend on your financial risk tolerance. If you're young and you want to take more risks and you don't have a lot of kind of expected emergencies right now, then you don't need to save a whole bunch of money. Maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months if you want to be more conservative. If you're married and you have more kids and you want to be a little bit more financially secure, maybe you want to save 6 months or 9 months or maybe a year, depending on how high your risk tolerance is. If you don't have a very high risk tolerance, then you want to save a little bit more money. If you have a high risk tolerance, then don't save as much money. But once you save this money, you're going to put that money aside, you're going to put it in a savings account, and you don't touch it unless you have a financial emergency. And now, anytime you got some extra cash, you're going to put that cash to work. That way you can become wealthy. The 7th financial mistake that you don't want to make is you become product rich, but you aren't actually real rich. Me and my wife had a short trip to New York recently, and we were walking down the streets. And one of the things that we thought were really interesting is while we were walking, we saw all these people on the street selling fake purses on the street. Like there was Gucci purses, Louis Vuitton purses, Chanel purses, and it was like block after block after block. You saw people on the streets selling these handbags and purses. And that got me kind of thinking, why is everybody selling the same stuff? Well, there must be a reason. There must be demand for this stuff, which is why so many people keep selling this, because people must be buying these handbags. Why are people buying these handbags? Because they want to show it off. They want to look cool. They want to look rich. We as people, especially in this spending culture that we have this innate want to want to look rich. And the way that we look rich is not by investing our money. The way we look rich is by owning nice things, nice and expensive things, things that have a nice name brand, a nice stamp on it. So when we walk around with this nice purse, this nice belt, this nice wallet that we paid $1,000 for, people are going to look at it and go, ooh, you must be really successful. Now look, let me make sure this is straight. There's nothing wrong with buying nice things. There's nothing wrong with owning expensive things. I want you to do that, but I want you to be able to afford it first. And I want you to know where your priorities are. Before you start spending your money on all these brand names, making these brand names rich, I want you to use your money to make yourself rich first. So before you start buying these things just so you can show it off to your friends and to social media, to people who really don't care about what you own, what I want you to do is take this cash that you would have spent on this fancy $600 belt and this fancy $3,000 purse, and I want you to use that money to build your wealth first. Now, when you become wealthy and you can afford these things without worrying about the price tag, when you can walk into the mall and you can see the $3,000 purse and you can buy it without it making a dent into your bank account, then sure, go out and buy whatever you want because you can afford it. Now you're wealthy. But before then, I want you to use your money to make yourself rich first. The 8th worst financial mistake that you can make is you are not prepared for a financial emergency. I've already talked about having some savings so you have a financial cushion to fall back on. That's the first thing you got to do to protect yourself from an emergency. The second thing you want to make sure you do is you want to have some insurance, because we live in a world that is very litigious, and so you want to make sure you protect yourself and you want to protect your companies from anything that could potentially go wrong. I'm speaking from experience here. I'm an attorney and I've been sued. People, especially in America, have the ability to sue anyone for pretty much anything. The first time I was sued, it was my real estate company that got sued because a tenant slipped and fell in the bathtub, or at least they claimed they slipped and fell in the bathtub. And the reason why they were suing my company was because they said that the bathtub got too slippery when the water was on. And then we went through the lawsuit, and turns out that the tenant didn't even slip and fall in the bathtub. They were just trying to get some easy cash, which they didn't get. So if you're starting a side hustle or if you're starting a business, make sure you get insurance for that. Then you want to make sure you have the basics. You want to make sure you have health insurance, car insurance, homeowners insurance, renters insurance. I know there's a lot of different insurances out there and it's a pain to pay for, but these are things that you just want to have to protect you against a worst case scenario type of situation. Then you want to protect yourself and your family from even bigger worst case scenario type of situations, like you potentially dying unexpectedly and leaving your family without any income or any savings or any money. This is where life insurance comes in handy, because the way life insurance works is now you're purchasing this insurance today, and now if you unexpectedly die during the period of your life insurance, then your life insurance company will come in and they will give your family a big check. That way at least they can be okay financially. So if you're in a situation where you're trying to build your wealth and you're trying to build your investments, but your family doesn't have enough assets to fall back on or rely on yet, and you are a breadwinner of the family, then you want to have life insurance kind of as this bridge protection. That way as you're building your wealth, you can have life insurance to protect your family in case a tragedy happens. The nice thing about life insurance is it doesn't have to cost you a whole lot either. Like if you are a healthy 30-year-old guy, you can go out and buy $1 million life insurance policy for like $30 a month. The 9th financial mistake that you do not want to make is you do not value your time. I'm a real estate investor. And you see this happen with real estate investing all the time, with people who want to be real estate investors, but they want to pinch every penny that they can, and in the process, they sacrifice so much time, and now what was supposed to be a passive investment ends up becoming a very active investment. After you find an investment property, you might realize that, hey, this property needs some work. So you get a couple bids, and now these contractors say that it's going to cost you $15,000 to do all the renovations, which includes materials and labor. And you're thinking, $15,000? That's a lot of money. If I just do it myself, I can get all the materials for $6,000 and I can keep the $9,000 in my pocket. So now for the next month or month and a half, you're spending all of your evenings and all of your weekends working at this property trying to get it rent ready. Now, once it's finally rent ready, after you sacrifice a month or a month and a half of your time trying to get it rent ready, you'll get it rented. And now you look for a property management company who can handle all the day-to-day stuff because you don't want to be that involved with your property, and you get it rented for $1,000 a month. And a property management company says, hey, we'll manage your investment for you every single month. That way you don't have to do anything, but it's gonna cost you $100 a month. Now you think to yourself, $100 a month? Wait, I can do this all myself. Why should I pay you $100 a month when this is something that I can do? I can manage this property myself. So now instead of hiring the property management company, you're the one that's managing a property. So now anytime the toilet breaks down, the tenant calls you. And then you have to drive out to the property and you gotta fix the toilet because you wanna save this $100 a month. And now anytime it comes to paying your bills, your water bill, or your taxes, you gotta write the checks, and you gotta make sure the checks are sent out, and you gotta make sure the city receives the checks. And then anytime you have to schedule a new property inspection, you have to work with the city to schedule the property inspection. And anytime your tenant doesn't pay rent, you gotta call up your tenant, see what's going on. You gotta be the one that's working with lawyers to file eviction notices. And you have to do all that work yourself because you wanted to save $100 a month. When I go through my real estate investment deals and I buy a property and it needs some work, I get a contractor to do the work. And I make sure this contractor is reliable. I worked with many contractors, so I know who's reliable and who's not. So I'll find the contractor that I want, I'll have them start the work, and I'm not gonna go back to the property until the work is done because the contractors know how I want my work to be done. Then once this property is done, I hand the keys over to a property management company, and now I forget about it. They charge me every single month, but that's the value that I get. Now I get my free time, and every single month I get some money deposited into my bank account. Sure, I gotta pay them to do that, but I get my freedom back. Plus, I wanna be a real estate investor. I don't wanna be a real estate manager. So I can spend more of my time finding more real estate investment deals instead of spending all of my time trying to manage the deals that I do have. See, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out how can I grow my income instead of just trying to figure out how I can squeeze my expenses and squeeze a few more pennies. I wanna know how I can grow the pie instead of just squeezing a few more pennies. But even if you're not a real estate investor, these are challenges that we face in our life all the time because we're always trying to figure out how can we save a penny. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, a penny saved is just a penny. But what I want you to do from now on is start valuing your time. Because if you make $40 an hour from your job and you hate doing your laundry and you hate mowing the lawn, and you can find somebody to do these things for $15 an hour or $20 an hour, now it makes sense for you to do something that's more valuable. Either you go out and work, or you go and do something that you enjoy doing and you can pay somebody to do these things for you. Sure, if you don't have any money to spare and you're trying to build your savings and you're trying to accumulate as much cash as possible and you don't have any money-making opportunities yet, then sure, it's better for you to be doing that work yourself, that we can save some extra cash. But I want you to think bigger, and I want you to keep this in your mind of how can I work to grow the pie instead of just working to squeeze a few more pennies out of the pie. And the 10th financial mistake that I do not want you to make is to live the YOLO, you only live once lifestyle. Nowadays, when we talk about the YOLO lifestyle, there's two different things that we're talking about. One is spending, which is the traditional YOLO lifestyle, and the second is investing. The traditional YOLO lifestyle was all about spending. You only live once, life is short, so go out and have the vacation right now. Go out and buy that Rolex right now. Go out and buy that Beamer right now because life is short. Who cares about this debt? Because eventually you're gonna die, and so you might as well have the nice things and enjoy that life today. Yeah, life is short, and eventually you will die. But you're alive today, and tomorrow you're gonna be the one paying the bills. The second newer generation YOLO lifestyle is, okay, I got a little bit of money right now, maybe $10,000, maybe $100,000, and I wanna turn this money into something a whole lot bigger as fast as possible. So how about I take this money and YOLO it into this stock, and hopefully my money will 10x by next week. This is something that if you scroll through Reddit, especially the financial side, you're gonna see a lot of people YOLOing stocks. You're gonna see them taking their entire life life savings, their entire cash portfolio, and throw it all into one stock, even if they don't really understand the stock, even if they don't really understand investing, because they just want to see their money grow as fast as possible, and sometimes it works out. Sometimes you'll see people turn $100,000 into $700,000 in just a week. Other times, you're gonna see people turn their $100,000 life savings into $25,000 in the same week. Look, there's a difference between gambling your money and investing your money. Investing your money is knowing where you're putting your money and letting your money sit there, compound, and grow over time. This is something that has been proven for years and decades, which shows that it works. Gambling can make you rich very fast, but it can also make you broke just as fast. Everybody wants to get rich fast. I mean, who would like the idea of getting rich slow? But the reality is, if you really want to get rich, you have to do something that's gonna actually get you there, instead of just taking all these risks and throwing your money into something, and now you see a life savings which you've spent a decade accumulating get sliced in half in less than a week. CNBC put out this pretty scary article talking about millennials and retirement. What they said was the vast majority of millennials want to retire by the age of 65. No surprise there. But if you want to retire by 65 and you want to be able to live off of just half of your final career salary, then you need to be saving, if you're a millennial, not 10% of your income,